Is that working now? Can you guys hear me now? Do we have sound? How about now? Guys, can you let me know if you can hear me before we can move on? Okay, great. Sorry about that. Again, first time streaming, so we're going to have some little glitches. Hopefully you bear with me on it. I'm not going to go all the way back. I'll just kind of start from where I was at. So let me know if you can hear me before we can move on. Okay, great. Sorry about that. Again, first time streaming, so we're going to have some little glitches. Hopefully you bear with me on it. I'm not going to go all the way back. I'll just kind of start from where I was at. Okay. So for the zigzag, I'm actually going to use the zigzag tool, which can be found under Effects, Distort and Transform, or under Effects, and then Distort and Transform, and then Zigzag at the very bottom. So I just thought it'd be a cooler way of doing this, and hopefully I can get everything the same. I might have to shrink it down after it's done or after it's expanded, but we'll kind of have a look at this. Okay, that works. And if I want to go, let's say, that many ridges, that works. Okay, so that was a nice quick way of doing the zigzag there. I'm just going to duplicate this. So to duplicate any object, I'm just going to Alt drag. So by clicking Alt and holding down Alt, I can actually duplicate that shape, makes things a lot quicker. And I'm going to do the same thing for these three little balls up here at the top. Now, if you look at the hourglass, let me just zoom out. Basically, I'm building from here up, and that's going to end up being just a rotation or a flip. And then from there, we can build everything else. So it should be a pretty quick piece to build today. I'm going to zoom back in. And now this one here, we've got a little bit of an angle on each one of these edges. So I'm just going to use a regular rectangle, which again is my M key on the keyboard. I'm just going to drag that out. Again, make sure we're keeping everything aligned as I go. And now here I'm just going to drag in these two corners. So I use the scale tool quite a bit. For the scale tool, if I wanted to bring these two corners in, I'm just going to grab both of those using my direct selection tool and holding down Shift. So the direct selection tool is a little white arrow, and then I can hit S on my keyboard, and you'll see this little marker come up in the center. Now I know that that's already aligned to center. I'm going to leave it exactly where it is. And then when I go and grab either one of these anchors and hold Shift down, it's going to drag into the center. And it's scaled both of those in from those sides and kept them exactly the same. So now I know those angles are perfect. Just a quick check, you guys. How's the audio? Am I sounding okay? Okay, well, hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm going to keep going just so that we can continue on. So I'm going to do these three balls up here at the top. Now, for those ones, I'm just going to go with the ellipse, and I'm actually just going to make a full ellipse. And I'm going to start here and hold down Alt and Shift. And by holding on Alt and Shift, I'm going to get that perfect circle. And then I can just cut this one. I'm going to use my Pathfinder to cut it. So the Pathfinder, I'm going to use the divide tool, and that's going to cut that in half. and then I want to ungroup. So I'm going to right click and ungroup it. Now I've got two different circles here, so I can actually drag this one out, and I'm going to click and hold and rotate it. So when I go around my bounding box, you see that little arrow switch to a sort of half or quarter corner. That allows me the option to be able to actually rotate this, and by holding down shift I'm going to get 45-degree angles. And I want these two exactly the same position on either side, so I'm going to highlight both of those, group them together, and then align to this shape. So again, I'm going to hold down or click on this, highlight both of them, then click on this again so I get that key object, and now those are aligned. I'm going to ungroup those real quick, and then just Alt drag a copy of that into the center. So these are a little bit different. They're not exactly circles. I want to use my round rectangle tool for those. I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to kind of grab right on that corner. So as long as it says anchor there, I know I'm in a good spot. And then I'm going to drag out a shape. Now you see that I'm getting a circle, so I want to drag down a little bit so I can get a side on it. And that should be just about perfect. And then again, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut this off, but instead this time I'm actually going to grab, oh, let me just grab those real quick. So if you see how this, it wasn't exactly round, and that's what these little guys in the center here are. These are for my rounded corners. And right now you can see them at 9.92. Now if I grab just one of them and drag into the center, it's going to pull all four of them in, and that way we get these perfectly round edges. So we drag this down just a little bit, and again I'm going to use my direct selection tool, the little white arrow, and highlight this whole end, and you'll see that I've got those nodes selected but none of the other ones because those are white, and then I'm just going to hit delete. By doing that, I've now got this kind of scallop shape that I want for these going all across the bottom. So I'm going to drag this up to where I want it. Now there's two different ways we can handle this. I could go ahead and just cut these off, pull these down. I'm going to wait until I've got all of them across, and then I'll use my shape builder tool and actually get rid of the rest of the little tails that are showing up there. So I alt drag that over, and without clicking anything else, I've got my first one exactly where I want it. So now if I actually go Command D, it's going to duplicate my last action or the last thing that I did. So I'm going to Command D. Oh, and of course it's not working. Let me try that again. I'm going to Alt drag it over, Command D. Oh, why isn't that working? Okay, I got to look into that and see what's going on. So instead, I guess we're just going to have to drag out copies. Command D should work. And that should line us up. We should be actually really good space there. Okay, so to get rid of these, I'm now going to highlight all of this, and I've got both my shapes down. So with those all highlighted, I'm going to hit Shift M on my keyboard, and then I can hold down Alt and just click on each one of these little lines. And as I'm clicking here, you can see that they each disappear. And it's lining up this segment now so that they're all nice and clean right up against the bottom of that. Now in my original sketch, you can see I've got these little guys here, which are just little lines. So I'm actually going to use my line tool for that to make those. And I'm just going to hit my backslash key, which is, or sorry, forward slash key, which is right above the Enter key on your keyboard. And we're just going to make some little line segments in the center of each one of these. Now for those, I want a round cap on them. If I go over to my stroke tool, I can hit the round cap, and that gives me a little round stroke on the edge. Let's try this again. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, drag this over, Yeah, it's still not working. Okay. Well, I'm just going to have to duplicate these the old-fashioned way then. Okay, there we go. Looking good so far. Now I'm going to do one of these legs, and we'll be able to duplicate it over for the other side. But before I do that, I'm going to grab all of this, and we're going to group it. So Command G on my keyboard, and then I'm going to copy and paste it. Doesn't really matter how I do this. A few things about copy and paste inside of Illustrator. Command C will copy, or Control C on a PC. Now that's in my clipboard, so I've got it copied. If I go Command V, which is paste, it's just going to paste it somewhere, normally in the center of my artboard. If I go Command F, it's now pasted a copy on top of that last one. And if I go Command B, as in boy, it's going to paste a copy behind. So this can be helpful when you're trying to deal with hierarchy, or you're working with objects that you want kind of in behind or in front. For this, it doesn't really matter. So I've got that in spot now, or in place. I'm going to zoom out a little bit and just give it a rotate. And it's grouped together already, so I just want to hold down Shift as I drag this down so that it stays in line with my top one. Okay, so there's our base and our cap, so I think we're looking pretty good so far. Any questions at all so far, you guys? Okay, so let's create one of these legs. Now I'm going to start out with my circle in the middle. I just think that's a good place to actually get my base going for it. And then I'm going to grab my pen tool. Now everything up to this point has just been shapes, right? So, I mean, if you pay attention to your drawing, if you're maybe not the best with the pen tool, pay attention to what you're drawing and try and figure out, you know, can I do this so that it's all just going to use shapes when I'm actually constructing it inside of Illustrator. Just make your job a lot easier in the long run, but still practice your pen tool. I mean, I spent months working with the pen tool because I know of its importance inside of Illustrator. So I'm just going to drag out a little bit here, and then again hold down Shift and pull out as I click, just so I can get my arches. We'll have a look once I click this last one here. So I'm going to pull out, and if you see I got this rubber band, right? So this is kind of where my next anchor point's going to go. I don't want that, so I'm just going to hit Escape, and I'm going to hold down Command and click somewhere else on my keyboard, or on my artboard. That's pretty good. Let me just grab this one. I think I'm going to leave it like that. I might play around with these afterwards, but we'll see how it goes. So for now, I'm just going to take this one, and I'm going to right click, transform, and reflect. I'm going to move this out of the way. So you can see right now I'm going the other way with this. So I've got that different curve on it. And I'm just going to go copy. That gives me my duplicate. And I can move it to where I want. Highlight both of these. And I like where this lined up, I believe. So I'm just going to check a couple of things here. I'm going to grab this and ungroup it by going Shift Command G. It's going to ungroup that whole thing. And that way I can grab just this scallop and my ball here. Yeah, we're all aligned there. So this ball and this scallop are aligned, which is what I want. Now I'm going to grab both of these, Command G to group them, and I'm going to align them to the ball. Okay, so now I've got a perfect line there. A couple of different ways I could do this. I could use a rotation on this. I'm not going to bother. I'm actually just going to copy this one. So Command C, Command F, that's copied in front, and then I'm just going to flip it or rotate it using the bounding box and holding down Shift until I get a full rotation on it, and then I can pull this down to where I need it for my spacing. So now if you see, I was a little bit longer in my drawing, which I'm not going to worry about because, again, the drawing for me is just a reference. It's not meant to be the final piece. This is exactly how it has to look. So I'm going to take this one and I'm actually going to drag it up. And I say right about there. We should be good. Okay, so now I'm going to grab all three of these pieces. Command C, Command F, and I'm going to go Command G this time too. So Command C, copy, Command F, paste in front, Command G groups it, because that way I can drag this over as a whole group. And then again, because I know this is not grouped, I can grab this guy, this whole group, and then align to that key object. And we're good. Okay, so that's got our base down. We still need to decide on colors and whether we're going to do wood or whatever, but I mean, at least we've got the basics. So I'm going to do this curve in here now, and I think I like this one a little bit better, but we'll see how it works out. So I'm going to do my pen tool again. So I'm going to hit P on my keyboard. It gives me my pen tool. I'm going to start there, and for this one I should be able to get a really nice curve just by coming around, just like that. And I'm going to escape out of that one. I think that works. Because again, I mean, what this is doing is, and I did this on purpose. I tried a few different sketches. I had some that didn't have these little finials or legs or whatever you want to call them, the columns. It just didn't, I couldn't get the curve of the glass down to a shape that I was happy with, so I went with something a little bit simpler. So again, Command C, Command F, and we're going to flip that around. Okay, now I want to rotate this again because I've got a little bit of a bigger curve going here than I do here. And you can see that here because it's not lining up. So I'm going to go here, right click, transform, and I'm going to go reflect. And now with this one, I don't want to go vertical because vertical is going to flip it on on that axis. I want to flip it horizontally, and then we can go OK. From there, that's better. That's a little bit better line up there. Okay, let's do our sand next, and then I think we'll do the little dots. Actually, let's do our dots. We'll do those first. I'm going to hit L on my keyboard to get my ellipse tool. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. These are nice and simple, right? So one, Alt, Shift, and drag down. Second one. And I might have to change, you know what, let's make that one solid. And we can pull up the size a little bit on it. I think that'll work. We'll see. Once we get to the end, I might change that. I might change the stroke weight just on these things. You see, a lot of my drawings that I do and a lot of the vector work that I do, I don't like playing around with different weights. I kind of like to stay with the same weight size on the whole piece. That's going to change in some upcoming work. I've got a few pieces that I'm working on that I want to go more illustrative, more, I'm not going to say, they're not going to be realistic, not hyper realistic, but there'll be some realism to them. Okay, so let's move on here now. So this essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my curve here. So I'm going to start where I've got kind of a clean point. You could start down here at the bottom. Actually, let's do that. We're going to start here and just pull out. So I'm clicking and holding and then dragging out my arms. Now if you see, I've lost my stroke because I actually, the last thing that I did was this solid color. So before I move on, I'm just going to go up here to the top. And if you're out of the view of your artboard, you can make changes. Get rid of this so we've got no fill anymore. And that way now when I click my next one, we should get our 5-point stroke back again. So now I can move on with the rest of this. So now I should be able to come up here, kind of center point, drag that out, and I might have to clean some of this up, but most of it's going to be okay. Go to there. I'm actually going to escape out of that now. So let's hook back up here, and if you notice when I click on an open anchor and get that little line, so that's telling me that it's going to connect, which is what I want. We're going to come up to this one, around to this one, and back into here. Now if you see if I go too far, I get that plus sign. If I were to click now, that's actually going to add an anchor point there, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to click out here, and that should be good. And then we can move this after the fact. Now if you see that this is a little rough, right? We got some sort of wonky piece there, wonky piece here. So what I'm going to do for this one, something that I don't do very often, but I do every once in a while, is I'm going to use the smooth tool for this and just see how we can get it to work out. Okay, so I've got the smooth tool turned on, and we're just going to highlight this here. That looks a little nicer. And let's do this one. I think that's good. Just those two. This could probably do a little bit better. Let's get that. I'm going to pull it down and just go over about 10 pixels. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that turned out good. Is anybody even over here in the chat? Let's take a quick second. Okay, so let's move on. I want to kind of build this piece now. Now I'm going to start down here because I want to flip it. I think we can just actually do just a reflection on this one again. So I'm going to get into the center. All right, we've got the center of all these. About there. Up to there. And I think we'll go right about there. Now again, I don't really like the way that turned out, but this time I'm just going to fix it with this. Just kind of make some minor adjustments here. Let's do that smooth tool again. Hey, that worked out again. I haven't used that very often, so I'm trying to use more of the tools that I haven't used in the past. And we'll see how it works out. So far it's working out pretty good. So I'm just going to reflect this one, and we'll see we might have to do a bit of a cut. So again, right click, transform, reflect. Now this time I don't want to go horizontal, I actually want to go vertical, and we're going to copy it. So I should be able to drag that over, and again, holding down shift, right, so that I can get everything all centered. So we're a little off here, but I'm going to fix that after. It makes me seem like this is probably wrong as far as my vertices or as far as my angle goes on that. But with everything being hidden, I think we should still be able to get away with this. I'm just going to take this one. I'm going to put this down into here. And again, I mean, it's sand, so we should be okay still. Bit of an adjustment on these ones. Okay. And I'm going to smooth tool this again. Should have called this one Watch Mike Use the Smooth Tool in a live feed. Oh, I got to select that first. Maybe we can do a little better just right there. Okay. I think we're looking good so far. We got a couple of little things we got to clean up here. We'll do that with the shape builder tool in a minute. So this last one, I'm going to grab this and just Command 3 on my keyboard to hide it, just so I can see this angle here. So this one is kind of the sand down in the bottom. Now if you see, these don't match up anymore, so I'm going to start out here. Click, drag that out, that one, click down here and hold shift, back up around. Now this one I'm actually going to continue on. I'm going to click that. So I've only got one anchor point left here now, so if you look at my rubber band, when I pull this out, I'm actually going back out again. I can go any direction, just back up here. So if I left that anchor point on, I get a curved line from that anchor point. It's just really short. So by clicking on it, you see that little arc that comes up under the pen tool, and click on that. And then I can come close, drag that one out. And then again, we'll adjust this as we need to. pull this one just kind of in so it matches up with the line. And that'll fix again. We'll be able to use that as a combined shape once we go in and merge everything. Okay, so again, let's use that smooth tool. Cool. It's working out good. All right, I'm going to shift this down just a little bit. It's a little bit too far. And then I'm going to Option Command 3 to bring back my bottom. Now, this one's a little low. I'm actually going to leave it like that. I don't mind that it's going in behind these little scallops. It'll work out in the end. So there we've got our basics down. So this is, again, it's taken a little bit longer just because I'm walking through it or talking through it. Normally I'd have my coloring and everything done. The outline would have been done about 20 minutes or 15 minutes in. The rest of it would have been coloring. So let's see if we can speed this along just a little bit for the coloring phase. So something that I always do, Command 0 zooms me back out. I highlight the whole piece because now essentially our outline is done. I've got a few little details I'm going to add in here real quick, but essentially the outline is finished now. I always copy a part. You know what, let's just get them in there so that they're done before we move on. I'm just going to run in and do these real quick. Those are just kind of lines for the sand. This one I want a bit of a curve on it, so I'm going to use my anchor point tool. And if I go in the center, I can just give that a bit of a nod. That's too much. So Command Z, zoom in a little. That's better. That's better. Let's see how that, there. Okay. All right. So now that I have the outline done, I'm actually going to come over to my layers palette and I'm going to hide my artwork. And there is our outline. I keep a copy of this, so I just Alt and drag it over off of my artboard. And that stays there. Now if you want to be safe about this, you can highlight it and Command 3, it hides. That way if I ever go Command A and select everything to do something, I'm not selecting stuff that's off my artboard because it's hidden, it won't be selected. We're going to do a little bit of cleanup here. I'm going to go in, I'm going to select the whole piece. Actually, you know what, let's do these first. So those old zigzags that we had, ungroup that. Those we need to expand so we can actually work with them because right now you can see that they're still just a single line. And if I go Command Y, which is my outline mode, you can see that that's just a single path there, right? So it's not actually the zigzag yet, so I can't really edit it. So Command Y to get back out, and Command A to select everything again. Oh, I want to select just these. So I'm going to do both the zigzags. We're going to go up to Object, Expand Appearance, and now you see it's a stroke. Okay, so again, if I go Command Y, you can see that's now the stroke and it's actually taken on the zigzag that it should. I'm going to start looking at this camera, not over at this monitor. I keep seeing my monitor over here, but that's okay. Alright, Command Y again to get out of the outline mode. Now I can highlight everything and we're going to go into our shape builder. So Shift M, just so I can clean up a few of these paths here, right? So we've got this little piece here. I'm going to hold down Option, get that negative sign, click on that. I want this guy gone. I want this one. This one. You know what? I'm going to get rid of that one too. And I think everything else should be good. I don't think we have anything else to really worry about. Okay, so we should be good. I'm going to go up to Object, down to Path, and Outline Stroke. And again, I've got, if something goes wrong with this, I've got another copy of it here, so I can always Command Option 3, unhide that other copy, drag a new copy over, and keep working on it. So I don't have to necessarily be happy with this one, but everything looks good so far. All right, I'm going to highlight the whole thing. I'm going to come over to my Pathfinder, and we're actually going to click on Unite and get the whole piece put together. So now that's just one solid piece, which is what I need for coloring. Now there's two different methods you can do. You can drag color in and around and go through and fill in all of these little pieces and use your pen tool and go in behind. It works, and I've done it myself that way sometimes, but just for the sake of timing today, and I'm probably not going to finish this whole piece in front of you guys today because I'd like to be done here in about 6 minutes. So I'll go through some of the coloring on this, and then I'll finish it offline and upload the finished piece to my Instagram. If you guys want to find me on Instagram, it's mikepickettdesignco. I am actually just in the process of doing a 1,000 follower giveaway. I'll be giving away a print of one of my pieces. So, love to see you over there. Alright, I'm going to highlight the whole thing, and now I'm going to go Shift M again to get into my shape builder, and I'm going to zoom right in. And I know there's certain pieces, like this one is a peek through or a spot that doesn't need any color. I'm just going to click on the spots that actually need color. Now, let me just back up here. One thing I should do, I'm going to change this with the Shape Builder tool to pink. And that way when I'm doing this, I'm not combining colors that I can't see afterwards. So now I know all the pink areas are my spots that don't have an outline and need fills of their own. I'm just going to go through the whole piece. Click through everywhere that's going to need color. And that should have everything. Oh, let's do this one too, because that's going to end up being blue. All right. I'm going to hit V to get out of my shape builder. Now this is all grouped together, so again if I drag it, it's everything as one piece. So I'm going to highlight the whole thing, Command Shift G to ungroup, and I'm going to select one of the pink pieces. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to come up here to Select, Same, Fill Color. I like to keep my pieces kind of organized, so we're going to go down to here. I'm going to unlock this layer. I'm going to right click, arrange, and send to current layer. Now, all of my colors on one layer. This can be a cool piece just in and of itself. I mean, I could save that out right now and say, there, done, hourglass. I'm going to give it some more color. So I'm going to bring my highlights, or bring my outline back on, but I'm going to lock that layer, so now I'm only making changes on the color layer. Pretty simple stuff here. I mean, I've seen these in all different colors. I've seen the pillars done in like blues and all different colors. I'm going to go with a natural one, so we're actually going to go with a wood color, and I'll do some lines and stuff on these afterwards, or shapes. We're going to do this one into a blue, but I don't want it that dark. That's a little better. This one can be the same as that. My sand, I don't want pink, that's for sure. Let's go with a nice yellow, sort of sandy color. Yeah, that works. Grab this one because it's in the front, and then I'm going to grab both of these. And we're going to fill those. Now I'm going to keep these selected, and this is a trick that I use quite a bit, is to use the HSB slider. This way I can still work with the same color, but I just need a little bit darker tone of it, so I'm going to knock down my brightness here and actually get it down to, I don't know, say 75. Right, and that just gives me that darker look kind of in the background. And then these two, I want the same color as this. Oh, what should we do for these ones? Let's do the balls the same color as the wood. change that afterwards, but we're going to go with that for now. These I'm going to alternate 2 different colors. Let's say a nice blue for one. Go to my color guide and we're going to see kind of complementary monochromatic. Let's do monochromatic this time. So then I'm going to select these ones. And we're going to go with that one. That one. No, I don't like this monochromatic. Let's go to this one. Yeah, I like that look. Okay. Let's do these top ones. Just a couple minutes, guys. And let me grab some colors here. So I'm gonna use my eyedropper tool, which is I on your keyboard, just to grab those, and then we'll go back and grab these other pink ones. Get a dark. Okay. This, you know what, let's stick with a few of these colors. I'm kind of liking this color palette. I'm gonna kind of flip-flop this a little bit. And I'll probably play a little bit more. Okay, that's been 40 minutes, you guys. I'm going to wrap it here just for this one. Again, first live stream. I appreciate everybody showing up. If you made it in late, that's okay. Don't worry about it. It'll actually be on the channel posted. I hope you learned something. Leave me a comment if you come back to this. Let me know kind of what you liked, what you didn't like. I'm going to hopefully try and do a couple of these a week and show you guys my process behind all of these things. The next one, I might even start out with the outline already done so we can do a little bit more color, a little bit more color theory, talk about what makes a good monochromatic design, a whole bunch of different stuff. So that's it for me. Nothing in the chat again. So wish me duck. I'm sorry you missed it. I'll be back, I promise, and we'll be doing more of these. So that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next one.